Good Thursday afternoon. Thanks for joining us on KARE 11 News Now. I'm Chris Harapsky. More fallout today after Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara's sudden resignation. That resignation putting Mayor Jacob Frey and some members of the city council at odds, with some questioning Frey's judgment in renominating O'Hara, knowing he was under investigation. To recap, Mayor Frey ordered an investigation last year into a complaint that O'Hara had sexual relationships with subordinates. That probe closed with the allegations unsubstantiated. In December, Frey ordered a second investigation into O'Hara's tampering with the first investigation. And this week, an independent law firm found those accusations were founded, leading to Frey's ultimatum for O'Hara: resign or potentially be fired. City councilors accuse Frey of keeping them in the dark about both investigations. Frey argues he couldn't make the data from the investigations public until formal discipline took place.
To make decisions based on rumor would be making decisions based on optics. And that's neither responsible nor is it a smart decision for safety.
I did a formal request for those previous investigations, what those report findings are, because I think that's going to be important as we figure out the right due diligence process for the next nominee.
The mayor sent us a statement after that press conference with the city council saying he's committed to working with the council on steps for a new police chief. While the city looks for a new chief, Assistant Police Chief Katie Blackwell is at the helm. O'Hara promoted Blackwell in 2023 to a newly created position overseeing the department's daily operations, including patrols and operations. She's been among MPD's ranks for more than 20 years. Blackwell testified as a key witness during Derek Chauvin's murder trial, telling the jury that MPD doesn't teach officers to restrain people the way Chauvin restrained George Floyd. The resignation of MPD Chief Brian O'Hara raises questions about the future of police reform in Minneapolis. For 3 years now, the city's been working under a settlement agreement at the state, which requires certain changes to be made. Here's Danny Spiewak with a look at what's next.
In the aftermath of George Floyd's murder, Mayor Frey hired Chief Brian O'Hara to be a change maker for Minneapolis police.
This is the center of the country around police reform, and I want to be a part of making things right.
O'Hara got the job in part because of his experience navigating similar reform efforts in Newark, New Jersey. Sure enough, in 2023, Minneapolis entered into a court-enforceable state settlement agreement with the Minnesota Department of Human Rights, which mandated changes in areas like officer training, traffic stop policy, and use of force.
This isn't about a checklist of paragraphs to say, we did this and we're done, we did that and we're done. This is about making change real.
For 3 years now, MPD has been implementing the agreement under the oversight of an independent monitor. In a report issued this fall, that monitor wrote that the department has made measurable and meaningful progress, but said there's still work to do with communication, overburdened staff, and lack of resources.
The work to do substantial reform is not up to one single chief or any single mayor. I've issued an executive order, and we've got a settlement agreement that is signed. Our department is committed to it.
In addition to the state agreement, MPD continues to informally follow a similar federal agreement on police reform known as a consent decree that was negotiated under President Biden's DOJ but canceled by the Trump administration.
The work will continue. I'm proud of the officers that have stayed and the officers that have come on that want to be part of this change.
Temporarily, Assistant Chief Katie Blackwell, who was a key witness in the 2021 murder trial of Derek Chauvin, will serve as acting chief until an interim and then permanent chief can be named.
I think it's a chance for a do-over and for a start-over.
Stacey Gurian-Sherman, who previously served on the city's Civilian Police Oversight Commission, has been critical of the pace of police reform under O'Hara.
There was a sentiment at George Floyd Square this past weekend that we are not better off than we were 6 years ago.
According to the Independent Monitor, one ongoing area of concern for MPD is the Internal Affairs Unit, which continues to experience operational inefficiencies, insufficient staffing, and a lack of trained personnel.
Deep concerns.
Council President Elliot Payne and his colleagues must now work with Mayor Frey to find a new chief who can satisfy both the council and the mayor, who don't always see eye to eye.
By having council be there right at the beginning and at the table, deciding on all of those choices together collaboratively.
Danny Spiewak, KARE 11 News.
New this week, Governor Walz signed legislation that will return 3,400 acres of land to the Fond du Lac Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa. Nasira Kelvy has more.
Chris, we talked to the chief author of that legislation, Representative Leish Kozlowski, who told us the transfer of the Cloquet Forestry Center could go a long way towards justice. The land is about 3 miles west of the city of Cloquet and has been under UMN ownership since 1908. The land transfer was possible because of the state bonding bill, which Governor Walz signed into law on Wednesday. There are still a few administrative steps that need to occur before the transfer is official, including a review by the University of Minnesota Board of Regents.
So this is about really doing right in the harms that wronged our people, but also making sure that this forestry center is there for the trajectory of the future, for economic, climate research, hydrology, you name it, but also that it's really about when we heal the land, we heal the people. And so this is really making not just our tribal reservation that was set aside whole, but it's also making our spirits and our people whole for future generations.
According to the University of Minnesota, the Forestry Center is used for research, education, and forest management projects. Chris, all those projects and work are expected to continue.
Developing right now, Shakopee police have arrested a person in connection with a deadly shooting at an Eid prayer service. They've also identified the victim as 26-year-old Khalid Ibrahim Abdi from Shakopee. This happened just before 10 a.m. yesterday at Canterbury Park's Event Center. Take a listen to the dispatch audio minutes after the shooting happened.
You are being requested by a liner to assist on a gunshot wound at Canterbury Park. 1100 Canterbury South, a party that was shot in the face. They're going to be at the Expo Center.
According to a Facebook post, the prayer service was being hosted by the Samaha Islamic Center. Social media video posted minutes before the shooting shows hundreds of people inside that event center. In a statement, Canterbury Park says the shooter and victim were both attending that service. New updates from the Metro Transit. Officials say a new survey shows more riders and staff are reporting feeling safer on public transportation, but there's still more work to do. Metro Transit leaders say 2/3 of riders said they were satisfied or very satisfied. 64% said they felt safe on buses, while about half said they felt same at bus stops, light rail stations, and on the train. Those numbers are all up from years past. Today, the Brooklyn Park community will come together to remember 27-year-old Jonte Lee. His family says his body was found earlier this week after being missing for nearly 2 months. According to Lee's family, Jonte was found in a pond near where he was last seen on March 10th. Brooklyn Park police say that night he and a friend got into a fight, but police say Jonte walked away. Lee's family says they don't understand why investigators didn't search the pond before. Brooklyn Park police have not responded to our requests. Right now, officials say they're confident a large wildfire in Crow Wing County is fully out. County officials say the DNR found no hot spots over the past 3 days while monitoring the Flanders fire and turned the response back over to the county. The fire burned more than 1,700 acres. Officials say they've also contacted everyone within that evacuation zone to assess the damages and start the cleanup efforts there. Internationally, developing right now, new attacks from Iran and the U.S. making a peace deal between the nations seemingly unreachable. Iran firing a missile at an American airbase in Kuwait after the U.S. attacked the Islamic Republic. NBC's Matt Bradley reports from Tel Aviv.
Well, so far this week, the talks of some sort of peace treaty on the Persian Gulf have been on again and off again and now appear off again, even as we're seeing negotiators continuing to talk. And this ceasefire that's being held just by a hair seems to persist. Now, we did see Iranians said that they had been firing back at the United States at air bases in the region after they said American forces, targeted Iranian sites in Bandar Abbas in southern Iran. That's the second time this week that the U.S. has taken shots at the Iranian mainland. Now, this could really threaten this ceasefire, which has been on the skids for quite a long time. But so far, it looks as though both sides, despite the violations, are continuing to hold the line and not breaking this back out into a full-on conflict. And we did finally hear from President Trump himself in wide-ranging comments last night to reporters in the Oval Office. He dismissed Iran's reports from earlier that day, saying that they had a copy of the U.S. Memorandum of Understanding that the U.S. had submitted to Pakistani negotiators. That copy, published by Iranian state media, looked like a major capitulation on the part of the United States. Well, the White House last night, the president himself strongly rejected that and once again renewed their pledge to prevent Iran from ever getting a nuclear weapon and to open the Strait of Hormuz. The president also saying he would go back to fighting Iran. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
All eyes on Capitol Hill at the end of this week as former Attorney General Pam Bondi is set to testify before the House Oversight Committee in connection with its Jeffrey Epstein probe. Bondi was previously subpoenaed by the committee, but after she was ousted, the department said she could no longer testify in an official capacity. The hearing tomorrow will be closed door and Bondi will not be under oath. The committee says it'll release a transcript soon after the hearing's over. Right now, a lawsuit involving the NFL and the Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores is moving forward after the U.S. Supreme Court refused to step in. Flores says the league and 3 teams discriminated against black coaches in hiring and firing decisions. He was fired by the Miami Dolphins in 2022 after leading the team to back-to-back winning seasons, but missing out on the playoffs. Lower courts have sided with Flores so far, ruling the case shouldn't be settled through arbitration. In a statement, the NFL said it respects the Supreme Court's decision, but it, quote, fully prepared to defend ourselves as this matter proceeds, end quote. Stick with us. We got more news and weather coming up after the break.